Yo, we're back with another update for the Brown University shooter. Since the last time we were here, all we had was the footages of different buildings and neighbors around Thayer Street, Hope Street, that showed this pudgy man walking around the area, kind of scoping everything out, looking very suspicious.
Tracking down the suspect in the Brown University mass shooting to this Northeast Miami-Dade home on 200th Street. This is his last known address, according to records obtained by Local 10.
But his face does look kind of familiar. Now that you're telling me that he's here, it might have.
Most neighbors did not immediately recognize Claudio Neves Valente by name or photo.
We don't know anybody with that name.
And even the current resident of the home says he does not know him. But authorities say they are digging into Valente's past, believing he is the one who shot and killed 2 people and injured 9 others at the school Saturday.
He's a 48-year-old man. He was a Brown student. He was a Portuguese national. And I will tell you that he took his own life tonight.
Authorities say they found Valente's body at a storage facility in New Hampshire, and he died from a self-inflicted gunshot wound.
He was found dead with a satchel, with 2 firearms, and evidence in the car.
Valente was once a student at Brown in a PhD program for physics from 2000 to 2001, but the school's president says he had no active affiliation there. Now officials say Valente also murdered an MIT professor days after the attack at Brown, and they say they had studied together in Portugal back in 1995. But Valente's potential motive for killing the professor is still unclear.
There is a video footage of him entering an apartment building in the location of the professor's apartment.
Authorities say they were only able to confirm that was Valente because of an anonymous post on Reddit from a man saying he had a close encounter with Valente and remembered details about his rental car. Well, the poster eventually spoke with police, and it blew the case wide open.
It's sort of an amazing sequence of events, and but really turned out to be critical to our.
We now have identified this man. This man happens to be Claudio Manuel, who they said happened to live in Miami. I'm like, nah, this is crazy. This is crazy. He followed my same trajectory. He came from Providence, Rhode Island, moved down to Miami, then went back and caused havoc. Like, nah, hold on, it's never that. It's never that. Rest in peace to those 2 students that lost their life and those that were injured, and not even that. All the other students that weren't physically hurt but are mentally hurt and will deal with this PTSD for a very long time. But an update that we see is authorities visit the home on his ID that was in Miami. I believe in Northeast to be exact, which is wild. But there's someone living in that home. They don't know who he is. The neighbors don't know who he is. So it had to be a fake address. Is the man even from Miami? I know we're seeing that throughout the internet, but then after seeing them visit the address and no one even knowing who he is the man actually from Miami, or is that just a fake address that goes with everything else that he was doing? Because this dude happens to be like a villain from 007. They said he had an untraceable phone. He was switching license plates as soon as he got to Massachusetts. Like, this was thought out, definitely premeditated. The FBI gets a drop that he's allegedly in Salem, New Hampshire, inside of a storage unit. They all pull up. When they pull up, they find him dead at the storage unit.
Using a phone that was obfuscating ability to track it, and he was using financial, like not credit cards that were tied to his name, and so he was sophisticated in hiding his tracks. This evening at approximately 9 p.m., federal agents breached a storage locker in Salem, New Hampshire, in search of Claudio Neves Valente, a Portuguese national we believed shot and killed 2 Brown University students and an MIT professor in Brookline, Massachusetts. Federal agents found Neves Valente dead from a self-inflicted gunshot wound. Neves Valente studied at Brown University in Providence, Rhode Island on an F1 visa around 2000 to 2021. He eventually obtained legal permanent resident status. Previously, he attended the same academic program as the MIT professor Nuno Loureiro in Portugal between 1995 and 2000. On December 15th, he murdered MIT professor Nuno Loureiro at Loureiro's home in Brookline, Massachusetts. At some point while he was in Massachusetts, he switched the plates on the Nissan Sentra to an unregistered plate out of Maine. Immediately following Professor Loureiro's murder, Neves Valente drove to a storage facility in Salem, New Hampshire, where he had rented a storage unit in November of this year. We're still investigating the motive in this case and trying to, because like I said, he was very careful in his communications, and we just don't have any information right now to answer that question. But when we get that information, we will share it.
The autopsy later on went to show that they believe he was dead for 2 days prior to his body actually being found. A lot of people on the internet are not buying this, I'm not gonna lie to you. Let's just go there now and not even keep wasting time. A lot of people are thinking this is a cover-up. We're seeing a lot of different conspiracies online. Not even that. The United States government is pointing the finger at Brown University and saying it was their fault.
Hopefully they're going to capture him.
Has Kash Patel told you why it's been so difficult for the FBI to identify who the shooter is?
Well, it's always difficult. So far, we've done a very good job of doing it with Charlie, with, the various times this has happened. They've done it in pretty much record time. But you really have to ask the school a little bit more about that because, this was a school problem. They had their own guards, they had their own police, they had their own everything. But you'd have to ask that question really to the school, not to the FBI. We came in after the fact. And the FBI will do a good job, but they came in after the fact.
Do you know?
Hopefully they're going to capture him.
A school that the tuition is so high, they allegedly have 1,200 cameras, but this is the only videos we see. And most of the videos that we saw weren't even from Brown. It was from different buildings around Hope Street and Thayer Street. So what is going on? We're seeing staff from the DEI and security for the building be put on administrative leave.
Looks like they just put a one of their heads of building management on, and guys will put up the screen, the Vice President for Public Safety and Emergency Management has been put on administrative leave effectively. Chad, that seems like a little CYA, a little late in the game for that, does it not?
Well, Laura, we're about a week too late for something like this to take place. Like we said, we have dead students. We have a university that's more concerned about putting you in your safe place so your feelings don't get hurt than we do about the safety and security of college students. This has got to change. I've said it time and time again. We do an excellent job for the most part of training elementary, middle, and high school students and staff on how to respond to these types of events and how to prepare for them. We don't do that at the college level.
The press is pushing back on the president of the school as well for not having knowledge. We saw that in our last video and we covered that. 6 hours after the shooting, they still don't know what was going on. It just seems so sloppy to me. Brown University, and again, if you're from Providence, Rhode Island, you know how high Brown is held.
President, with all due respect, 6 hours after the shooting, and you said you don't know what was going on in that classroom? How does that happen? Were they taking an exam? Were they meeting for a club?
I don't know. I don't know.
6 hours later, and you're the president, and you don't know.
I do not know.
Well, that's kind of concerning.
That I would have never thought in my life. I would have expected this at my college or anything else. Before Brown and Ivy League school, like the whole entire state, the whole city of Providence holds Brown so high. And to see how sloppy they were moving in a situation like this is crazy. To the fact that even the president is saying they dropped the ball. This is the school's problem due to the fact that the government funds these colleges and they should be protecting these students. How is there no footage of this building? Like, we don't see nothing of him walking in the building, walking out of the building, shooting. Like, it's so many gaps within this story. And then I see a video of the FBI kicking snow outside. I'm like, oh, nah, this is done. This is done. This is crazy. The FBI is chilling on Thayer Street, kicking snow around, trying to find evidence. Like, oh, nah, we're screwed.
We'll continue to walk here and look for evidence. You can see them that they're kicking the snow out of the way, methodically looking step by step, looking to see if there's anything in the snow at all that can help point them in the right direction in this investigation. And if you look over across the street, Seth, for those of us just show, let me see it right over here. There's that team as well. They're doing the exact same thing across the street.
We're looking right now at the FBI who is gathered there as part of the investigation. And John, at times we've seen them with actual rakes combing through some of the snow-covered ground there, some of the shrubs, some of the trees. They're obviously looking in very specific areas. Again, this is live, watching the FBI combing through, obviously looking for any bit of evidence to further this investigation, live out of Providence, Rhode Island, John.
Yeah, anything that the gunman might have dropped or tossed on his way out of the building as he went walking down the street, because that's right in the area there where the surveillance camera got a picture of him, where our Brian Yanis has been dutifully reporting from.
Okay, so we're going to continue watching this. John, obviously, as that community and those students have been shaken to their core, the school and the local police are urging vigilance, obviously, in the area.
We see the evidence response teams now for the FBI now looking over the fence of this building. And now they're going to go behind the 145 building on Waterman. This is the building that we initially saw them rush to. It's got businesses, a law group, a chiropractor, and now they're looking.
This can't be the varsity team of the FBI. This got to be JV, because this doesn't even make any logical sense to me. And before we even go deeper into the story, rest in peace to Ella and Muhammad, who both lost their life at the Brown University shooting. And also rest in peace to the MIT professor. You might be saying, MIT professor, what? Yeah, this guy then made his way to Brookline. This is all alleged because the story's still not making the most sense. But allegedly, after doing what he did at Brown, he makes his way to Massachusetts, switched the plates, goes to Brookline, and shoots an MIT professor.
Schools in the Northeast, and police now say they could be connected. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Kira Phillips. We begin with that breaking news. Multiple sources briefed on the investigation, telling ABC News the mass shooting at Brown University and the murder of an MIT professor in Massachusetts may be linked. Let's bring in our Christian Cordero there on the scene in Providence, Rhode Island. Also our chief investigative correspondent, Aaron Kotursky, plus our contributor and former NYPD chief of detectives, Robert Boyce. So, Aaron, what do we know now?
Law enforcement sources tell ABC News, Kira, that the shooting at Brown University that killed 2 students may, in fact, be connected to the shooting death, the apparent murder of MIT professor Nuno Lolero, who was shot and killed in the foyer of his Brookline home on Monday night, pronounced dead on Tuesday morning at the hospital. At first, the FBI said there was no known connection, but in the last 24 hours, sources told ABC News that the investigative teams on both the cases began to compare notes, and information started to gel that the 2 shooting incidents may in fact be connected. The authorities have not said this publicly, but this is what we're hearing now from multiple law enforcement sources. We also understand that authorities may be close to naming a suspect, but they are frantically working both of these cases, understanding that 2 communities, both in Providence, Rhode Island, and in Brookline, Massachusetts, are shaken by the developments over the last several days.
Claudio went to Brown University, I think it said from 1995 to 2000, then went back from 2000 and was on and off until like 2021. He was a Portuguese nationalist that became an American citizen. But again, I have so many questions. How do you then do this mass shooting at Brown December 13th, December 15th, 2 days later, you're not done? You go find this MIT professor and then know where he lives. Like, did you guys have any personal beef? Did you guys have knowledge of each other? Because he didn't find him at the school. He found him at his home in Brookline and killed him, which is just insane to me. And I've seen both theories. But then I've also seen that he studied with the MIT professor back in Portugal and they knew each other. So again, I'm not confirming anything. I'm not 100% sure. These are just theories that I'm seeing online. But the campus police chief was put on administrative leave. We're seeing even stories that the janitor at the university saw that this guy was walking around looking very sketchy and reported him to the police chief at the campus, and they did nothing about it.
As he's still in shock, dealing with the fact that he saw the shooting suspect more than a dozen times. He describes how he saw the suspect in the Barris and Holly building, looking in and out of classrooms and going into the bathroom. Something fell off, so he says he notified a third-party security company there on campus 3 times about the suspect, but nothing was done.
And I had said to him, I had caught him the last time on December 1st, and I was right behind him as he was coming in the building. I was coming back from my break, and I went right to the ESS staff. And I had said to the ESS staff member, I said, hey, this guy looks suspicious. I said, he just went in the bathroom. I said, you should go check him out. He's like, I'm not here for that.
And Lisi says when police started releasing those photos and videos of the shooter, he knew it was the man he saw multiple times, so he notified investigators.
Now an investigation is happening on why was nothing done? Why did they not move quicker? How did this man have access to the buildings to get in and out and then do a shooting like this with not being a current student? There's just so many questions that we're gonna continue to hear. This is not over now, trust me. The internet is not letting this one go either. We've seen everyone on an uproar online begging for more information because it's not adding up what they're giving to us as of yet. It's just not adding up. There's so many questions, there's so many holes in this story. What was the motive? Why leave Florida? It's winter right now up here. It's 80 degrees, it's beautiful out here. Why leave Florida to go shoot at a university that you're an alum at? I don't know if he's an alum, I don't know if he graduated, but that you attended prior. Then find your way to shoot someone that you might have known from Portugal or might have known from Brown University, and then go shoot him at his home to then go take yourself out. Why? That's my number one question. Why? As soon as we hear another update or we get a bit more information on what the motive might have been behind this, I will definitely come back to update you guys. But do you believe all the information given out to us? I'm not saying that the government is lying. I'm not saying that at all. I have no knowledge that you don't have that you can't Google on the internet. Everything that I come to these videos with is just stuff that I researched online. But a lot of it is just up for question to me. It just doesn't add up. It just doesn't make sense. Don't forget, we're on that road to 20,000 subscribers. Sub up, sub up, sub up.